Welcome guys, welcome. This is ChatTactic number 21, I think, for 2024. So that, anyway, let's just get into it. I've sort of got my cup of coffee because I sort of need it today. I thought I'd just start off with Athena Crisis, actually not Arena Crisis, Athena Crisis, which is sort of like a battle isle type game, done very, very well. This is going to be our giveaway. Don't have sound? Sorry, you can say I see you, but it's saying that sound is okay from my side, so I'm just hoping that it's working. Hang on, what's going on? Just let me have a quick look, because everything should be up and running. You guys, just let me know if you do have sound. Everything else is looking good there. We should be fine. We should be fine. So sound is good too. Good. Okay, thanks for that. You freaked me out there for a minute because I do look across at the levels. My computer did update, and usually that does mean I can end up with sound problems, but I did check it beforehand. So we're all okay to go. That's good. Hi, William. How are you going? Hi, Paul. Hi, anybody else has joined us as well. Anyway, the giveaway today will be Athena Crisis, which is a battle isle, a very good battle isle type game. What's the other sort of game like that? Advanced Wars type game. This one's done really quite nicely. One thing I would love would be one of these games with random maps. So that would just be something I would absolutely like. It does have a map creator, and so you do actually have things where you can go and download campaigns or maps from wherever it might be. Hi CB, how you going? So you've got, like in this one here, I'm just still working my way through the tutorial campaign, which is actually fairly cool. It sort of ends up being, it'll ask me if I want to continue playing that one, but I can look for more to play, like official campaigns back and through here. This is the prequel campaign that I'm currently playing. So it sort of just goes through and it pretty much introduces you to the different types of units. I won't go back through that one. I'll just, can I go back again? Just go back to campaign again. And if I go to community campaigns, I'm not sure if there'll be anything really down. Oh, there we go. Survival of the Swiftest. So there's a whole lot of different things in through here as well from, from different sorts of, well, this is actually fairly cool, isn't it? Advanced Source main campaign tweak to work with this game's mechanics. There we go, isn't that cool? So there's a heap of stuff that will be, I think this game will be one of these games that a community that around it will actually just keep on making content for it for an extremely long length of time. But I would love to see these sort of games with the, as I said, with random maps, random skirmish maps. And I'm thinking like there's so many really, really good models now to go by with the way that certain games to try to maintain balance but still have the map itself. I think I might just sort of show you a new game and just go through what the mechanics actually are. We won't spend too much time with this one, but this will be the giveaway for today. So if we just go into new game, you've got like a whole lot of different scenarios that are available, and it will just keep on downloading them as well. This one looks small. I'll just get a smallish one. Let's just go with this one here, for example. So if I go and this will give you a bit of an idea as to what actually does go on in the game. If I just go and play it. So I'm going to be playing against a bot in this instance, but I can sort of change. You've either got the pink start or the orange start in this case. So should be pretty much the same. I can see there's a few little things that are different, but not a hell of a lot. So this is sort of like the two different starts. We'll just start in through there, for example. You do actually have different sorts of setups as well with the way that the games can be then played. So you've got like a skills, which allows you then to choose as you play. The more you play the game, the more you can then level up with your different types of skill attacks. So you've got like extra sort of extra damage that can be done, or I can just turn that off. One thing I quite like is the FoG of War, but I'll keep that one off so you can sort of see what does happen, when you can see everything. That way you can sort of keep track of what the AI is doing. But that's a nice one as well, just to be able to sort of turn that one on or off. And different units can see different distances, so it's very, very cool. Let's just go in and start a quick game. You can sort of see what's happening here. Now I've sort of zoomed in at 3 times zoom. There's sort of 1, 2, and 3. But if I just go back into there, that's 1 time zoom, 2 times zoom, and then 3 times zoom. So we sort of end up with it pretty much looking like this. What we actually end up having is a whole lot of different buildings, and so this is pretty cool. That's going to sort of show us what we can actually then go and do from there. There'll be different sorts of things. There's a barrier in between these particular bridges, barrier over this rail bridge as well. We end up with all these different types of, like we've got construction sites, which is what we're going to need to sort of go and try to grab. Now the orange player has already started off with an infantry unit, plus he's now got a pioneer. Now the pioneer go and actually build on top of these sorts of sites. So if I just go into the different types of buildings, it'll just give you a bit of, I won't play for very long, but it'll just give you a bit of a feel for what's going on. Each site has got an HQ, so if I go and click on that one, the most important building, if it's captured, the player loses the game. So that's the objective. And it can also then go and create most of your basic infantry units from that particular location. One thing that's quite nice with this game is it does give you very, very good information. Plus it does give you sort of like, you know, multiple things. Like for example, our HQ is on a plane. It's got bad cover. Vision cost is just 1, so you know it's good for vision. So flat terrain with minimal cover, allowing most units to move freely. And so movement allowance, essentially, it's easy for all of these different units. But there's a couple of units there that it is a little bit difficult for them to actually move through this terrain. I don't know why it'd be strenuous for those, but it is. And it's inaccessible for, you know, from hover tanks and stuff like this. So you can get a bit of a feel for all the different sorts of stuff that's there. If we just go back and just get rid of that one. Other buildings we have is like a lab. You can actually then go and upgrade certain units depending on what this one does. I don't know if that's random. I don't think it is. Yeah, this is actually these are buyable skills that we can then go and get, like aggressive stance or surge of vitality. And this building increases the attack strength of the owner's units by 10%. So that's what the labs actually are. Again, there'll be a construction site underneath that one, which we won't worry too much about. So there's a construction site underneath that one. The barracks allows us then to build different types of units. Now, we've got 200 to start with, and we need to compete with the orange player, which means that we are going to need to get some pioneers. I can get one of these per turn, or I can get like I've only got the one building, or I can just grab basic infantry. But we've got things like medics, we've got anti-armor, we've got sort of like saboteurs, snipers, and then a flamethrower guy that's very, very good against these types of units. And so you sort of start to build up your different units back and through there. Let's just go and press escape. So that's the barracks, and then the other one back over through here is sort of like your armoured vehicles. And so at the moment, the only thing we can afford is these little jeeps. The jeeps do different things. Like if I click on these as well, it will then give me a really big rundown as to what they actually get to do. And so these don't actually attack, but what they do have is they transport soldiers around. They also give supply back to because there is actually a supply system. So if we just go back out and have a bit of a look at the for example, the barracks. If I just go back in here, so if I'm going to build something, if I go and have a look at the basic infantrymen, you can see there that they actually have unlimited supply, so they can just keep on fighting, so they don't have any real sort of problem there. But some of the others, like if I go to this one here, for example, this one's only got 4 bullets that can actually then go and fire. So it's pretty cool the way it does actually work, you know, the whole game. I won't play any of it really, I don't think, but I thought I'd just show it because when I saw it, I thought, oh wow, this is exactly the sort of game that I love playing. So I've been I've been pretty time poor at the moment. I've been playing this and one other game, which I'll also talk about. But I do actually have a key to give away today, and I've got a few more for the future as well, actually. So we'll be giving this game away for, you know, for a few weeks, I guess. But anyway, that'll be today's giveaway. And you can see there's heaps and heaps of different types of units. There's, you know, some units we don't get to see. For example, like the you know, there's different types of vehicles that we're not seeing, like with the setup that we currently have, because we don't actually have the aircraft as an example. So anyway, it's very, very pure. It's very much like Battle Isle, very much like I can just click and drag. It's very much like Battle Isle, very much like Advanced Wars to a degree, with the way it sort of does work. And so as units sort of then move through, it's still a few things that I would like to sort of see in the game. Like sometimes you don't know why a unit has been attacked, so you still like these hidden units. But I would like more information when units are killed without you seeing what they're doing. Like particularly when you're playing with Fog of War turned on. If you have Fog of War turned off, you can see everything, but with Fog of War turned on, you don't really sort of get to see that one through there. Hi Eddie, how you going? And Sorbicol and Hugh David, Tenru and Dom UK. Welcome guys, welcome. So anyway, that's going to be the giveaway, which I think is a really good one actually. It's just, as I say, one of those games that I'm quite excited to play. What happens is, as you like, actually, I might just show a little bit of it. I'll just go across. I'm going to grab one of these guys. And so I'm just going to go and place him just there for now. Now I can't use that building after that. I've only got 100 left, so I'll just end my turn. We'll just see what they get up to. Now they're moving off as if they're going to capture something, and they're just moving it out. They've now got themselves a jeep. So that's sort of what they do. The AI is good enough, like, you know, it sort of does what it has to do. So we've got that one. We've got 200 because we're making money from this house, a little bit of money. So we're going to need to also then just get ourselves maybe just another infantryman. I can still build from here as well, by the way, but I'm down to 0 now, so we'll just end our turn. So they've been supplied by that one. And so they've just built another house just to give themselves more... now he's used the transport, and so he's coming down this way to start the process of attacking us. So we'll just stay there, and I'll just go in and show you sort of what happens when you do go into a construction site. So it's only the pioneers that can actually do this, but you go into the construction site here, and then you have like a whole lot of different things you can build. Now, depending on the scenario, you'll have different sorts of things you can build at different sites. And so in this case, we could just build a house. That's what we can afford. We can eventually get like a repair station back over through here, build another factory or another barracks. So let's just go and grab a house. That will then double our, these give you 100 money per turn. So we can't do anything else this turn. So we'll just go and end our turn. Now he's attacked us. So we get attacked back, unfortunately. So they've got more things sort of coming. So we've now got another 200. I'm going to go back. And just sort of leave myself there for a second. Like you get different defense as you sort of come back through the other side. If we just go back into here, grab another one of these. And so with the, if we have a look at the actual building itself, like leader is, that's just going through who our leader actually is. The building itself doesn't have very good defense, so we probably will be attacked again by this unit because he can see us. Just end our turn there. Yep, so we just got killed. And they're now on the march. So they're now sort of a fair way ahead of us already. So I can't kill this one off completely, but I'm in the mountains. So when we sort of see the return fire in the mountains, we're not going to, like the defense is, yeah, great cover. So we end up with great cover back in through here. So that's sort of like what we're sort of seeing there with the actual terrain itself. So that's why we didn't take much damage. In this case, I'll grab another one of these. We're going to need a few of these just to sort of try to push this backwards a little bit. Now they're trying to take over this particular building. It's only infantry, basic infantry, that can actually take over the buildings. Okay, now we can sort of get back a little bit more. That wipes him out. Now to heal up, certain buildings will also then have like an ability to heal. I don't think this one does. Yeah, it's like you've got the medic as well. So, but I've got 200 there. What I will do is just go back in and grab, whoops, just go back and single click. One, single click, and just get myself a another pioneer. I can go back into here as well. Get myself another one as well, so I can just get like 2 of them coming from those 2 buildings. So it's pretty cool the way it does actually work. I'll keep that one back. Actually, I'll move it up. Move it out. No battle log. Yeah, there is sort of. The way it works, actually, a good question. If we go into here, this information gives us like complete any win condition to win the game. It gives you an overview of what you need to do. You've also got the game in through here as well. If there's now there is actually, it's not giving us an actual log. Actually, that's a good point. When you're playing a campaign, it gives you all the dialogue though, so you can actually read through the dialogue. But we're not seeing the actual, not seeing anything there as such. I haven't looked for a battle log actually, but that's that is a very, very good point. We then sort of have like where the enemy can move to, so that's your like your movement locations. It's fairly simple in this sort of sense. You can undo a turn, but yeah, there is no battle log. That's interesting. I didn't even notice that. Just gives you a bit more information down through there. Yeah, okay, I might respond back to the developer actually, and just sort of suggest that, because I think that's a good suggestion actually, for that to be something that actually does, that would be a good addition to the actual game itself. Anyway, I will leave it there because that way you can sort of see what's going on with it, and but that with the giveaway for today, and I think it's in early access. Let's have a quick look out and see. Just go back out to the home page and then just quit. Athena Crisis, there it is there. And yeah, so the release date, actually, there we go, 6th of March. So it's still in early access, so there's still work sort of being done on it, which it's extremely playable. So that's, yeah, so I might actually, I will suggest the battle log if I remember. I might just jot that one down, actually, because that would be good. Yeah, that would also then help to explain the various various aspects of the game as well. Like, like it would give you a feel for what numbers are being being generated. I don't think there's any luck aspect involved, but yeah, those sorts of things do make a big difference with these sorts of games. Yeah, so that's actually fairly cool. Anyway, that's Athena Crisis, which, as I say, is fairly cool. Only got 19, like 84%, which is good. Good ratings. 19 like user reviews is very, very low for this type of game. But I thought it was a sort of game that's a good fit for the channel. And I'm guessing if you guys, most of us sort of tend to like the same sort of games. I've been enjoying this one. Just playing like 10 minutes at a time. The other game I'll just quickly delve into, which I've surprised me actually that I enjoy it so much, is Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun, which is it's called. I've seen a few people call it a boomer shooter or something, which I'm guessing means an old player shooter. Like and it's fairly brutal. I'll show you a little bit of this one as well. But I've been quite enjoying it. So it's been my little go-to game for the last week. And it's yeah, it's been quite good fun. Very very much inspired by Doom, but so much better. Like in terms of course, you'd expect it to be so much better. I'll just go and continue. So this is just entering an area. I'm sort of halfway through an area. Just but it's just a full-on shooter, like essentially. Sort of start running around, they'll end up someone's following. I'll just go back and grab another gun. Somebody just use a shotgun. These toads are hard to deal with. These little gremlins. We've still got good health. Oh, this is really bad. You need a plasma gun to get rid of this guy. Come on. Get killed here. Got him. Yeah, but we got killed as well. Anyway, that's that's bolt gun. It's pretty full on. William Thomas saying they're shooting boomers. I better run. Yeah. Okay. So Zarks is saying there's a small tip. You can hide your NSFW games from your library. I update Steam update, assuming that's why you keep going to Steam in the browser. No, the reason I go to Steam is to show the games, but I'm not sure what you mean by NSFW. Really quick. I don't think I've got any NSFW, unless it's for violence. So I don't know. What I tend to do is the way I show things is that I go just as a bit of just to go back through these. Actually, why is that? It looks like I've actually just deleted everything. I'll just go and reload it all back up again. Just go back and make sure that I've still got the everything. I always have. Well, I always start off with, and I must have accidentally closed it all. But if I just go back into my live stream, that should then fire up. Just make sure that we've got the stream itself. Yep. So that I just keep that one open in my first one, but I do actually have the pop out chat. I think we're all okay. Yep, I think that's all fine. And then what I tend to do is I go and open up Steam in here. I'm not logged into this one, so this is actually just vanilla Steam. So I do this for a couple of reasons. Like it's basically, so if this is what you mean, I just do it in here because the main reason is that I can actually do it at a higher zoom level. So at least it looks reasonable rather than going to my actual Steam library. And I don't think I've got any NSFW not safe for work games. So I often will go back to this one, but the actual but the vision, this is now a lot smaller in terms of the scale. So I have this one to go through the stuff that I'm actually playing, but I do go through the other one, which is, you can sort of see there, not logged in at all. So I just keep this one as a basic sort of way of doing it. Zarks is saying, I'm just teasing, don't mind me. Yeah, no, so when you said it, I'm thinking, I wonder if if it's the violence. I thought it might have been the bolt gun game, but yeah, so we're saying all those Japanese waifu games we know you have, yeah. God, they come up a lot, don't they? They are everywhere in Steam. I thought that must have been what had come up, was one of those sort of games on here, but I'm not sure. It's sort of funny. Someone did a really, really good expose on that. Who was it? Just recently, one of the YouTubers did a real deep dive into the way all those sorts of games have sort of come about and all this sort of stuff. Jesse Cox, I think, did it, and it was pretty cool. It was a very, very, very interesting sort of deep dive into how it all came about, which is quite interesting. Anyway, let's continue on. So we have, they're the two games I've sort of been just playing, other than, the more deep games. The big one I guess we're going to be talking about this week will be Kingdoms. So that's going to be coming out this week, like in a couple of days' time, actually. So it's funny, it doesn't have, I'm going to have to do Field of Glory. I guess there's a lot of, there we go, Field of Glory Kingdoms. So this is, a lot of people are really excited about this game. I think it's going to be a really, really cool addition. It's not an easy game to play, so that will be coming out on the 5th of June. Now that's the 4th of June for you guys. It's 2 more days' time. So just means you're playing them purely for tactical and strategic aspects here. Well, there's a few games that I've got that are similar to those sort of games that are actually really, really good games. Actually, just to do a bit of a dive into those sort of games. If I just go to Steam, Steam powered, there is one game that I was actually a little bit worried about playing it at the time, but I really like it. So Brigandine, The Legend of Runesia. This one had the same sort of JRPG type sexualized graphics in it, but it's a very, very cool game. I'll just turn that off. But this one did have like all these sorts of characters that are. I'll just go and zoom it up so you can sort of see it. You can see them all in all their. Well, they're not. It's not strictly. It's not NSFW stuff, but it's sort of. It certainly is something that sort of like a lot of the, I guess, the more modern audiences no longer like that sort of content. But this was such a great game, such a great game. But it just had this amazing whole JRPG sort of backstory to it, and sort of randomized. There we go. Sort of seeing the sort of done that way. Don't know if they're going to show us as much, but this was a very good game, just as a strategy game. And again, it's sort of one of these games that didn't actually have a random map, but it didn't really need it, just the way it did work. And one of the extremely interesting things about this particular game was that the dialogue between all the different characters, and there's heaps of characters in the game, but it sort of allowed you to do anything you like to do, and then there would be like all these little side stories from just random characters that came up, and it was incredibly detailed. Very cool the way it sort of did actually sort of start off. So a great game, really great game, but does have that sort of the whole that JRPG sort of NSFW type approach to the look of it. Which but it was, as I say, something that I really enjoyed playing this particular game. So but that was sort of probably one. I don't know if it's got any sort of warning. I'm guessing it doesn't, because it doesn't actually show anything as such, but it certainly is heading that way. Yes, Zarks is saying Daz must be playing them purely for the tactical and strategic aspect. Well, in that case, it seriously was, because the game itself was incredibly good. Like, what does it rate? 85%, which is pretty good for a strategy game. So anyway, that's Brigandine. So Stencil is saying, Field of Glory Kingdoms, it's more Crusader Kings or Total War? That's a good question, and that's going to be a question that a lot of people are going to be wanting to know. It's not Crusader Kings, I can tell you that. It's going to be probably sort of slanted that way a little bit, because it does actually have more of that aspect than, for example, Empires had. Like if you've played or seen Field of Glory Empires didn't have any real family sort of aspect to it, but Field of Glory Kingdoms, even though it's got a family aspect to it, and it does play out in that sort of way, it's nowhere near as deep as in that side of things as Crusader Kings. Where it is much deeper than Crusader Kings is everything else. So it sort of does a much better job of the building of the empire, of the of building up your like the different buildings and what they do. There's so much more content in Field of Glory Kingdoms compared to Field of Glory Crusader. Oh, sorry, not Field of Glory Crusader Kings, but there's so much better. If you like the combat aspect, it's much better than Crusader Kings. It makes more sense in Crusader Kings. But if you do like the RPG side of games, then Crusader Kings is much better than Kingdoms in that sort of sense. It does have it, but it doesn't have it anywhere near to the depth or the immersion that Crusader Kings actually does have. The other side, the Total War side, is again, Kingdoms is so much more involved in the setup and in basically in the management of the actual empire, in sort of getting everything to work. And then the combat itself is can be played in two different ways. You can play it in a very superficial, sort of like within the game itself, very quickly, and so it has like a way of modelling that with some random numbers and things, and it does. That's pretty good the way that one does actually work. And then the other side of things is to go actually and export it back out into the into Field of Glory Medieval, and you only need the base game, the Field of Glory Medieval base game. I'm guessing if you wait for a couple of days, they're going to have a Field of Glory day, which is going to be in 2 days' time. And when that one does hit, there may be specials, and I'm sort of hoping that Field of Glory Medieval is on a good special on that day, because that will then allow you to pick up that and then fight the battles in that. And that's, for me, is I prefer the Field of Glory tabletop system to the real time of Total War. So, but I enjoy Total War, like the fantasy, like the Warhammer type stuff. But the other sorts of games, it sort of doesn't, like, it's so much more involved playing it in medieval. Maybe I'll just quickly show you, just so you can sort of just see how that sort of aspect does work, because it is pretty cool the way it does actually sort of happen. So I'll come back to the other questions in just a minute. Maybe we'll sort of just have a quick look through. I'll have to try to remember to come back to these, to where we actually are, and then we'll just go through it from there. Yeah, no, we'll do it that way. Because this week is going to be, look, you know, in 2 days' time, it's going to be Feel the Glory Day for Slytherin, and there should be big specials on with that one there. I don't know what they will be, but I'm guessing that with the launch of Feel the Glory Kingdoms, there's also they've got a big lot of streams coming on that day as well. So Feel the Glory Kingdoms. So let's just go and open her up. By the way, the manual is now fully I'll just open it up in here so you can sort of see it. This is now a free download, so you can sort of just go and grab the manual and I've just downloaded it as a PDF. This is a big manual. This is very cool, actually. So this is the actual game manual here for it. Can I zoom in a bit? Yeah, I can zoom in a little bit. So it's again, it's very nicely done. Lots and lots of information. It's sort of like almost like a compendium that you do want to sort of keep with the as you're playing the game, and then just do it like have it as a PDF, and then just search. You know, if you are sort of struggling with little things, it will actually go through explaining how everything actually does work. It's one thing that I was sort of hoping that this would have, and it doesn't actually have it, but one thing I was hoping it would have. And you can see they're 323 pages. Now they're not big pages, like they're only, you know, it's only sort of like fairly small little manual, like a 5 type manual. So if you're thinking of it in terms of like an A4 booklet, you probably can halve that. But even so, even at 160 odd pages, you're going to it's still a lot of content that you've actually got there, and it's fairly thorough. Like it's I did find something the other day when I was live streaming which wasn't all that clear, but most of the stuff is very well done. And this is pretty cool, actually. I might show this because these are factions, like they've got all these different sorts of approaches to the game. So this is much more in depth than any of the other games that you sort of have around the medieval period. This is a simulation as much as anything, basically. If we go across into faction-specific rules. So what these ones do is this section draws together any particular rules that affect a given factional group outside the normal rules above. So it doesn't just simplify things, it actually really goes in and delves in deeply and starts to sort of push things a certain way. One of the things I found really quite interesting, so this is just for Byzantium, like things to do with mercenaries. So recruiting mercenaries is always available, and these are cheaper. So 50% upkeep costs than for other factions. Coups, like within the actual, within the empire itself, because the empire is in a state of collapse at this point in time. Imperial restoration. So you've ended up with all sorts of different penalties with the restoration of the Byzantine Empire. The Holy Roman Empire is another really interesting one. This one here, if you play as any of the states inside the Holy Roman Empire. So if a state outside the HRE declares war on a state in the HRE, then all HRE members will join in to protect the target. If you're part of the HRE, a declaration of war on another member is treated normally. So if any members have more authority, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So it just goes through how the internal bickering works. And this sort of is a little bit like Crusader Kings in the sense that you do actually have these aspects which are sort of which aren't as immersive as Crusader Kings, but still actually sort of do it. There's things, for example, like relations with the Pope won't be difficult. If the HRE faction has 25 authority points more than the Pope, then it will gain the anti-Pope modifier. And a modifier, when you sort of see the word modifier, think of it like a card. So you get these different cards you can then go and play. This will be lost if at any stage the HRE has less authority than the Pope. The benefits of the anti-Pope modifier are to gain 1 legacy point per turn, which is the scoring system in the game, for each claim under control. So 50% reduction in the chance of losing authority if excommunicated. And so it sort of goes through the way that the Italian merchant republics, for example, how they work. Now I know that also Crusader Kings also had to bring in like a different sets of rules for these ones, but this one comes in sort of like at the at base level. yeah, so that's, yeah, it just goes on and on. It's very, very cool the way it does work. The Bankers of Kings, you know, sort of how those sort of republics sort of did work. Merchant fleet. So you can see there's all these special, the Normans, for example, and this is just before the Norman conquest of England. So the papacy, back and through there. You can't play as the papacy, but this is actually sort of what does actually happen with them. They've got the Rus as well. Some of the features of Rus, yeah. So this is actually they're sort of like way out in the sticks. Crusaders, so you can actually have like different crusades can start up. It's not pushed, but these can actually happen. If a crusade starts, a generic crusader faction may be created. This will convert to a named faction if it takes land in the target region. So this does allow you to then go and take Jerusalem, for example, but with not historically. You sort of do that one within the simulation. In addition to forces available at the start, it can receive reinforcements in form of leased units from any crusading faction. So the game has been built not to push a historic narrative, but to have a system that can then sort of work within it. So it's very hard to show the full scope of what this game actually is. Now there's scripted invasions as well, so you actually have a few things that are scripted. The game has a small number of scripted invasion events. The main one is the likely arrival of the Mongols towards the end of the game. So this one is not going to happen in the early part of the game. Other examples include the attempted Norman invasion of England if certain conditions are met, and the mechanisms to trigger a crusade in the Middle East. So there are some that are scripted. So you've got the Mongols set towards the end game. So these will gain a large army around 1066 and claims either in England or France. And then the Crusades. When a crusade is declared, a notional crusading faction will be created in the target area. So it's just got those sorts of things in through there. Then you've got different sorts of like generic factions and rebellions. It's so deep. Anyway, that's the manual. So you can go and grab the manual and have a look at that one. Let's just go and start the game up. Go and play it. I'll show you the difference between. I'll show you the difference between this and Crusader Kings, and I'll also show you the difference between this and Total War, if I can do it. I'll try to find a faction that will allow me to do both. And so it's going to have to be something that's not too big, not too small. So if we go across, I'll just go into the scenarios. Now the scenarios are, so it's not as polished in terms of its look as Crusader Kings is, for example, or Total War. So it's much more of a simulation type game. It's still very functional, and it does follow the Field of Glory sort of style of graphics, which is to make them look like tabletop figures. So the grand campaign is I guess the main way of playing the game. I'll just go and get that experience level up a little bit. I'll be playing this a lot, I think, over the next week or so as well. And Richard is saying he hates twitchy games. I don't like games where I've got to be doing too much stuff. I don't mind shooters like that one we had a look at, and saying what's Brigandine, and saying Sorbical saying answering it's a JRPG style game with boobies, but it's an incredible strategy game. It's a very, very good game, Brigandine. Like it really it doesn't need the sexualization to at all. Actually, it sort of almost gets in the way of a great game. And you can skip past in Brigandine. You can skip past all of the dialogue because it is JRPG type dialogue. So it's a lot of it's fairly sort of juvenile in the sense of how it how things are sort of then spoken about. But anyway, Brigandine, as I say, highly recommend it as a strategy game, and you can just skip past all of the RPG style of things and just play purely as a strategy game. Right, okay, so we've got you got sort of like major nations now. It doesn't really matter much about these, but these will all have different sorts of ways of. Often they'll have unique ways of sort of being played. The way that do happen, and you can see there that by the time 1066 rolls around in 12 years' time, then you expect the Normans may become a problem if you're, for example, playing England. The Normans themselves are not part of these of the major factions, but things like Scotland actually are. Scotland is I've been using this as my test one just to sort of see how things actually do work, which is not too bad. If we choose. If I choose, for example, Connaught in through here, this one might give us a bit of a sort of show. What I'll do before I do that is just show you the scope of the actual map itself. So this is the overall map, and each faction plays uniquely in terms of what it actually has. It's got some historical things that come into it, some that are just random as well, with the way that you then can go and build it. So you can push it all sorts of different ways, but the actual game itself extends all the way across, not to India, so it's not as big a map as the Field of Glory Empires was, where it sort of had to cover all of Alexander's conquests. And so by this stage, we've just gone through the Dark Ages, and so we only have Persia. We don't go into Afghanistan or into the northern India or anything like that, which the other game did do. The other game touched on India. Sort of as like in Empires, whereas this one doesn't, but it does actually have, it's much more fleshed out, I guess, with the focus pretty much being on Europe and the Middle East, essentially, is sort of what we look at for this particular one. The Mongol invasion, I guess, comes from this edge here where nothing much has happened. There are actually hordes as well, like you've got like the like this is the Kipchak horde, so you do actually have hordes ready to go. These are not playable, so these are possibly for the invasion event. I don't know if that's what it is. So how does it compare to CK3 difficulty wise? This is much more difficult in terms of understanding how to play it. Like to set up if I go and play as a small. If I play as a big country, I want to be relying very heavily on the automation to sort of to allow that to be managed for me. Whereas if I play a small nation, like for example one of the Irish areas, like so for example if we do go and play as, and the only reason I'm choosing this one is because they've got a bigger army than the others, and so even they wouldn't be able to take these on. But if I go and play as Connaught, for example. Is that going to allow me to? Yeah, so I've got that one selected down the bottom through there. This is considered a difficult one. If we go down into some of the others, Munster is considered difficult as well. Leinster is difficult. O'Neill is difficult, and also we have Ulster as well. Actually, we do actually have a grouping through here. These are not playable, so these could be taken over by one of these others. I don't know if this one has got a claim on it, but these are the various. In fact, we could actually go and use this one here to just. I'll try to get a battle going so you can sort of see the what actually happens. So if I go and choose Connaught back and through this other side, this is actually considered to be a remarkable faction, and so this is sort of one of these things where there could be some interest in playing it. The other ones down the bottom here, the other factions aren't terrible, but they can have very unique styles of playing. But these so there's heaps and heaps of factions to play in this game. You can sort of choose all sorts of different things. So anyway, let's just go and choose this one for now. And so I won't go through all of this stuff, but there's it does give you. Like this one's got no treaties, for example. We've got all these different, trying to become the High King of Ireland in this era. Also, this is not High Middle Ages. This is the Low Middle Ages. This is the end of the Viking era has just come. So we're just on the end of the Dark Ages and into the end of the Viking era. There's still Vikings, and so if you do go and play as the Norsemen, you will actually then have sort of like Huskarls and things like that will still be available, but you don't actually have like the big armies of Kretchi or Agincourt. Those sorts of armies are not in this time frame. We're still 300 years before that actually happened. So very much sort of almost basic type units, like basic spearmen, which are raised from your peasantry. I'll just go through very quickly. I'll just go and play as these guys. Now it'll start off, every country will then go and play up the top there. I'm just pointing to it. I'll just do it here. So all the AIs are now sort of setting up what they want to do for their actual countries. So they're just going through. It's incredible what what Agile, the actual developer, has done with this. And they do such in-depth simulations. It's really, really cool. So Richard Phillips is saying, looks way more complicated to me. Yeah, it is much more complicated than Crusader Kings because it really covers all sorts of different things. Now, this gameplay tends to be fairly generic unless you've got a very, very unique faction. So let's just go through. So at Connacht, very simply, and I won't go through, I'll do more stuff in detail, but if we go and click on Connacht back and through there, one of the things we do actually have playing as these guys is that we do end up having an area where we've got Connacht itself, which is actually the regional capital or the provincial capital. Plus we have Breffni back and through here as well. So we've got the two different areas. If I go and click on the domains overlay, this one shows the provinces or the domains. And so you can see there that this one here is part of this same color. And if I just zoom out to the level, you can see that that is technically part of our little area. Ulster is actually technically these three at the top. Munster is down through the bottom through here. And so they're the three different areas in Ireland. And you can see the whole map is split up this way, where there's all these different provinces. When you control more than half the areas of a province, plus the provincial capital, in this case we control Connacht itself, it allows us then to go and do things on this screen. And this is sort of like the saving grace if you don't want to get too involved in the micromanagement, because this allows you then to say, hey, AI, I want you to have a balanced view of how we then operate the populations. So you can see there at Connacht, at the moment we have like four guys in farming. We have one person sort of doing infrastructure. We're doing nothing with military or with money, so there's nothing coming in, which is why we're sort of going backwards with money. We've got one in piety, so we've got sort of like a religious group in through there, and we have one nobles group. We don't have anything in the one above. If I go and choose any of these, I can then start to tell the AI, I want you to focus on growth or food, or I want you to focus on infrastructure or commerce or money or military, or just a balanced overview. Now, if I go and click on this one, they're going to, and maybe I'll just quickly go in and show you this one as well. If I go into Connacht itself, if I click a second time, I then get to see there's the four that we saw, there's the one in the infrastructure, there's the one in piety, and there's the noble as well. So we have different things in here, different buildings that can be fairly unique as well. So this one's fairly well built. We can't actually build anything else. This one's got the maximum of what it can go and build. In this one here, we've only got like one building. Actually, we've got two buildings. We've got a common cemetery, and we also then have a huddled shanties is also back in through here. There's a smelly and noisy. And there's the three population from this particular area. But I can go and build in here. And so these are random. So the actual buildings you end up getting are random. And some of these can be quite important to, you can see there that if we get certain, like if I get a fisherman's house, for example, it's going to chew up one of my infrastructure slots, which are these slots in through here, these building slots. So one of the building slots will then go. It will give me 3 extra food and 3 extra money if I go and do that one. We are missing extra food and money because we don't have sales. If we can hold a sales, then that will actually then give us a boost in through there. But it does produce fish, so if we had a need for fish, now I won't go into the depth of the trade system, but if you're not wanting to micromanage the game, just click on these, click on it again to come back to this provincial view where you can sort of see the various provinces. And then just go and click on a balance is a good one. And so what happened there is all it did was it changed one of these from that location and put them into generating money. That saved us 5 money. So in this case, playing as this particular faction, we are going to have to get on top of the money. We also then have different, and this is actually where the Crusader King side comes in. If I go into the actual overview of the empire back and through here, this is our leader. So this is Tesek Kokorea, previously known as Teosek. whatever he is anyway. So guiding infrastructure points here, blah, blah, blah. He's going to have different abilities that he can then go and do. If we go and click on him, this then shows the family, which is as close to Crusader Kings as we're going to get. But what actually happens is we have different people in our court. And so this is essentially our family and court. So we have the ruler himself, and he's got like different abilities like administration, military, and piety. Also, he does actually have combat ratings as well. That's his wife in through there. The females typically in this time period have very limited interaction in the game. They can't hold positions of power, but what they can do is be married off to then create claims on different territories and stuff like that. So you can still do things in through there. So he's got one concubine back in through here, 17-year-old. Then we've got a son who is how old is he? Age 13. So he's almost he's basically just coming into being an adult, and he's got a second son which is just age 1. So that's actually his family. He then has other relatives. So for example, he has a brother. And they're all going to have different loyalties. The loyalty of this brother is very high. So there's different political things that do go on with the different characters. And so he's got 5 relatives. If we just go back through there, there's also this one through here, another uncle. Everyone's very loyal actually with him. So yeah, so this one, she's not. His sister is not very loyal. But and then he's got other nobles. He's got 5 nobles in the court as well. So in this case, we've got a yep, health excellent. Yeah, so these are basically his court, and so these characters then end up being things. For example, like we need somebody to administer this province, and so we would then go and click on the characters in through here. We want someone that's fairly high level. So we've got this one here, which is a 523. What we wanted to do is get the 5 is administration. I'll just go and throw him in there. So he ends up sort of going in and applying his skills to that particular area. He does actually have, he's a pillager. Now that's not going to impact him as a governor. That will only impact him as if he was the actual, the leader of the military. So that's how we then can use our characters. They can, if they're disloyal, can create problems. Let's just go back into the army itself. So we do have Mercad, who is our best general when we're having a bit of a look at that one through there. Now this one's spiritual, and this one doesn't apply as a general. This only applies if he's actually ruling a province. And so in this case, we do actually have this character. I'm going to send these ones through. It's going to take 2 turns to get across to this one. We can take these without declaring war, so let's just go and do it. So we'll just go and charge these ones off. The armies themselves are, this is where they're much more involved than what we see with Crusader Kings. So this aspect of the game of building up the empire, using the armies effectively, even though it looks a little bit like Crusader Kings with pushing them off into the different areas, the actual combat itself is quite difficult. Not difficult, it's quite different. And also you've got different sorts of units do different sorts of things. So we've got skirmishers back and through here, 3 skirmishers. We do have a group of Irish kerns back and through this other side. If I press control, they've got different sorts of skills that they're good at. And then we also then have a group of Irish foot back and through here, which is just sort of like infantry levels. Now we can also, if we wanted to, and I won't do it, but we can go in and actually go in and sort of go into the actual build queue. And we only have very basic units we can then go and get at this stage. So Irish kerns, Irish foot, and we have Irish mercenaries as well. Because we control a province, we can then get the mercenary elements that would then sort of come back through. So, and I can just add these in, but you can see we don't even use spearmen in with this particular grouping, and so this is because of the style that we're playing. If we were playing pretty much anywhere else other than Ireland, we'd end up with some spearmen available to us as well. We may be able to, as an example, these are like the cards that you then get to play. So you've got Forge Claim. So you can actually sort of, this one is a pretty cool one. So you can sort of, if I go back and so forge a claim on a target land, let's go and forge a claim here on this one. So we'll just go and play that card there. We also then have the different units we can recruit. So if we recruit local units, it's going to cost me 100, but I do get some different types of sort of units I can use that aren't mercenaries but will still be good. So we'll just go and do that one there. And I've got also non-standard units as well, and these will just be light slingers if I got them. I won't bother getting those. So let's just go and end our turn there for now. You can see our money is still going backwards. I haven't fixed that up. That's through the trade system that I would need to correct that. Just end our turn. But I'm just trying to give a really brief overview of what's coming. But it's actually, yeah, it looks like Europa Universal level. Well, Crusader Kings 3 is sort of based on that. There we go. Look, we've got a biggish army that we just recruited from in here. So that's 3 units, but they're much more powerful than the units we actually have in our first army. So what it's doing is it's processing the turn up in the corner. So it's a we go system. You give all your orders and then it just plays it all out. So battles will occur in that period. So we're down near the bottom of the map. Yeah, we're sort of in the problem area. We need to get on top. We need to get our authority up if we can. We're only getting +1 authority, so we need to sort of work on that aspect as well. So we're regressing, which is what happened there. I won't go into the detail of that one, but that's sort of like, again, the authority is the main mechanic that you end up using it's up through here. This one is authority is everything in terms of actually playing the game, and legacy is your score in the actual game itself. Now, I would suggest ignore the legacy. Just don't even worry about it and just play the game, but focus very heavily on authority. In this case, we've got 3 different units have come back through. These are all picked Irish foot. These are very, very powerful. You can see there with the experience that they've come in through with. So these are a really strong army. I'm going to move them off as well. If we go into but yeah, this one here. So Breffni was raided by Uanil, then through this other side. So they did a raid across the border, and the interlopers were soundly defeated. So there was just like we didn't get to play that one out. That was just a raid that came through. I won't worry about any of the other stuff that's happening in through here. And what I want to do is ultimately what I can do is I can tell this group to actually go and target that group. Actually, I'll just go and tell it to go back there. If I go and say, okay, see how the arrow changes to red? If it's green there, if I do that way, it's now targeting that army. It's going to try to join up with this one. That's its goal. Let's just go to the next one just so we can start sort of playing a battle out. And so again, it's processing the turn in the top right corner. You can see there, and then the units move off depending on how difficult it is for them to move. So here we are. Now we've got a thing where we've come through. They've got their defending units. These are just independents where the combat power is 38. They've got 9 units, and we've got a combat power of 75 with 9 units. And we actually have a leader. They don't have a leader. So we can either export the battle or play the battle out. So I'll do the export so you can see that aspect. So export the battle to play in the compatible version of Field Glory 2 Medieval. I'll just go and override the exported battle that I had there. Go out. It will then quit out of the game and then open up Field of Glory 2 Medieval. This is why it's good to have Medieval. It does then play in the tabletop version of the game. Sorry, my screen keeps on glitching out. But this is a very, very good game. So yeah, you can see there that this turn-based game set in the High Middle Ages. Well, it says High Middle Ages. I always thought the High Middle Ages were like from 1200 onwards, basically. But so from 1040 onwards. You don't need all the DLCs, by the way, to play Kingdoms with Medieval. Now, one of the things, when you're going to go and play it, you go into battles, you go into Kingdoms battle, and that will then load the battles in. If you're wanting to pick this is actually a little tip I was going to give, actually. If you've got both games and you're wanting to figure out what style of gameplay you want to be playing, one thing you can do is go to Custom Battle and just have a look at the different types of units, like in the unit list for the different factions in this game, and that will give you a bit of a feel. So if we go across into pick your army, and if we can sort of sort this one by dates. So let's just bring the dates down to say 1100 and up to so sort of in the period that we're actually looking at through there. And so these are all the different factions that are playable in this era of the medieval game, which is the same as like there's the Irish ones, for example, that we'd sort of be playing in those ones in through there. If I then go and click and preview the army options, it will then show me that I've only got the picked Irish foot, which we then got before, the Irish foot, the Irish kerns, the slingers, and we do have light javelin men as well. So that's going to be a typical Irish army of this period up to 1100s. So that's sort of where we are. That's what we can expect to be using. So if we go into something else and you're thinking, okay, look, I really want to be playing as with knights, with different sorts of knights. If we go into, for example, German Imperial for this period, so we're just choosing the 1050 period, and then have a look and see what they've got. They've got a whole lot of other sorts of things. They've got archers, crossbowmen, raw spearmen, like defensive spearmen, armoured spearmen, dismounted knights and sergeants, and they've got knights and sergeants in through there. Now, knights and sergeants are okay, but there's better versions around. If we go and close that one off as an example, and maybe have a look at the Byzantine Empire as an example of, and again, just choose the region. We've got Byzantines, and also we have the Byzantines in Italy as well. But if we go to the Byzantines of 1042, do they have cataphracts at this stage? They've got they sort of essentially got their cataphracts back and through here as well. So they've got extremely Byzantine cataphracts with bow and arm back ranks. So they've got essentially they've still got the knights and sergeants. They've got lancers. So you can actually use this to get a bit of a feel for the different types of armies that you can then go and play, which is really, really cool. And so it's one of these things where there's a lot you can then go and do. So Dom is saying apparently High Middle Ages are about 1000 to 1300. 1300 onwards is the late. Oh, okay. There we go. I've learned something. Thank you for that one. So people are saying, I don't mean to sound negative, but that feels a little clunky. A little clunky? My God, it's full clunky. This is the transition from into the different games. It really, really should have been built inside the game. I agree 100% with you. It is a clunky system. I think that I wish that Medieval, the base game of Medieval, was just a part of the actual battle system inside Kingdoms. So I think that would be so much cleaner. But there's the trouble with that is there's two very, very different companies that have got both games, even though they're both under the publishing arm of Slytherin. There's two completely different entities that are sort of working on it. So when Agiod is then working on Kingdoms, they're then got to liaise with I forget what. Richard Bodley Scott is the guy that controls the battle system we're looking at now, and I forget his name of his company, Byzantium Games or something like that. Anyway, it's sort of one of these things where it's an incredibly clunky system moving between the two. I wish there was a better licensing arrangement that they could come up with, but it is what it is, and it's better than what it was with Empires because at least it directs you where to go, but it's still not great. And yeah, I agree. It's not just a little bit clunky. It is as clunky as that transition can go into. It sounds like a shit show in the making. No, it works very well. And it worked like in terms of what they were able to do. And so they work very closely. Agiod and Richard Bodley Scott worked very, very closely to get the balance working beautifully in both games. And so quite often, if you play this, and I'll go back out, but this is one way you can then start to choose. I just wanted to show you this one so you can actually go from the Field of Glory Medieval and have a look and see what type of armies they had, because this is purely a battle system. If we just go back out and let's go back to the main menu. And just go back into battles. But this is very, very clunky. This is the Kingdoms battle. So the one that we exported out, we are then going to be going back into that one. We're going to then go and play that one out. And so this is now the style where it's this versus Total War essentially. But in essence, you do need both games to be able to play this. I'll just let it load in. And so this will then take into account the terrain that you're fighting in. So certain things like the sea battles can't be played this way. They have to be played inside the Kingdoms system. And Kingdoms is a standalone game. But if you do want to play, if you particularly want to be playing these types of, you can add 2 more generals to our army. And so if you particularly want to be playing the game in this sort of style, it looks like we're fighting in a swampland through here. I'll just go and throw them in any old place at this stage. We've got Irish Kerns in through that side. Add a general. You can see there's more numbers here than what was there before, and the reason for that is that this is where the 2 development companies have actually tried to figure out the best way of balancing out, so you end up with an interesting battle as well. I'll just go and end the turn. I won't sort of position them, but this is now there can be hidden units inside the swamps, and I'm guessing that the others will be doing that one. So we're just going to move into swampland. Did we expose anything else? No, that's okay. We'll move into swamps with our skirmishers, and really we're going to have to sort of try to protect the access points. And so the Irish in this period were pretty much just sort of skirmishing. They weren't as refined as the other medieval groups, and so that's why they don't really have like they're all medium foot and stuff like this. I think, yeah, they're just medium foot, which allows them to fight in things like the swamps. Whereas if these were heavy foot, if these were spearmen, they wouldn't be able to fight in this sort of terrain very effectively. So they are, yeah, it's pretty basic sort of style of fighting. Anyway, this then plays out with the full-on turn-based system that is the tabletop sort of system that they've got. I'll just go and end the turn. I actually really like the graphics, because it makes it looks like, I think if I go Shift 3. Yeah, I can sort of zoom in. So they've done as if they've been painted up like figures, and that's why they look really. They look like they're purposely made to look like the tabletop system. So the actual characters themselves don't look at all refined in terms of the look of them, but they look exactly like the tabletop figures, and I find that quite charming, like personally. But if you don't know the actual tabletop game, not that I play the tabletop game, but it's but you know, that's something that, yeah, we can see we've just done sort of bring this one back. I think I'm going to move this one across, because we shouldn't have nothing back in there. I won't go through all of this, but anyway, this is sort of essentially the I won't play much more than this one. I'll just move that one up so we can sort of see, because there's going to be more than just this. And move that turn. There we go. So there's more and more coming out in these different areas. So they've put most of their skirmishing type units back into this other side, and then we would then be fighting this other units we just sort of saw moving back through into the swamp. Here we go, another group. So yeah, so these Irishmen are off doing different things. But anyway, let's leave it that one there. We'll just quit that game out and go back to Kingdoms, and I'll try to show you the other style of gameplay. So that one is a full-on tabletop system, which is really, really cool. For me, that's so much better than Total War, just the whole system. But as you said before, extremely clunky. Let's go now. When I finish a battle, I then come back in and click on this button here to import the results, but we don't actually have that one. So what we're just going to do is we're just going to go to load, and we can see there we've got pre-battle turn. So if I just go to that one through there, I can just load that one up. And so the game also does all these different sorts of auto saves and things. So this one will then allow me to play the game inside the system with the battle. So this is now the same battle in here is now going to be done, and you can see there the style. Like they've got 7 units. They actually have also a couple of units inside the actual town itself, but they're mainly skirmishers is all they're going to actually have. So if we go and view the battle in through here, this is the way that the game abstracts the battles. So this is actually a much simpler battle system. So if you don't want to be playing out a particular battle in full-on stuff, it's almost like an auto battle. So you can actually just go and view the report and see what actually happened, but you can go and play the battle out inside its own system. So again, we have the same sort of characters that were in there before. You can see there we've got like a skirmish line through this other side. They've got a few different types of troops as well. They do actually have some spearmen, which is interesting because you wouldn't expect to sort of see them too much. But this is mainly sort of skirmishers is what they actually tend to have. We've got our main Irish foot back and through across through here. Looks like both groups managed to catch up with each other before the battle started, and so we've got a line of our javelin men are going to be the skirmishers. They've mainly got a lot of skirmishers. They're going to cause a lot of damage, and we're fighting off in the in lowlands, so in the swamplands essentially. And so we've got there's a width which is the maximum width for the actual battle, which actually has a big bearing in these particular battles. So choosing your army style is very, very important. Let's just go and start playing them. The first thing is going to be a ranged attack. These are randomly chosen, but they've got like a lot of range units going to be firing at all of our units. Now, it won't kill them, but it has exhausted these guys, which has made them so that their effectiveness is basically 0. And these are still fresh, but the effectiveness is down a little bit. So, and then the skirmishers then move to the back, but they've still got skirmishers in the front, which should give us a bit of an advantage. We then go through the various combat. Now, you can see through there that we're going up. We've got like a group of Irish kerns who have got they've got +1 because they're marshmen and they're fighting in the marsh. They are exhausted from that range attack, but they do actually have a support unit that's now moved in behind them, so they get +1 from there. So they've got 4 total fighting ranks. The spearmen have got a 7 combat rating typically. They do actually have -2 because they're clumsy in this sort of terrain. They get support bonus as well because they've got support units in behind them, and they also then have a terrain defense because they're defending in their own territory, or in this lowland territory. So it's sort of everything is very, very clinical in the way it sort of does work. We get 2 rolls of a dice, they get 1, but there's a big difference there of 5. So we can expect that these will be destroyed. So if we just go across and play it out, yeah, massively big. And so all of the hit points got destroyed from ours. So that's a bad result from our side of things. Go to the next one. This next one, we've got, these are only light javelin men. They do actually have support units behind them. We also have support units. And so they've got 3 combat rating. We've got 6 in this case, even though the effectiveness has been completely wiped out in this case. So we've got very, very low effectiveness, which is giving us -3. So actually we have a total of, they have a total of 7, we have a total of 5. So hopefully we can just roll more than what they do. No, it's even. It's a stalemate, and we managed to kill them off mainly because they're skirmishers. So we're a little bit stronger than what they are with the hit points. So they only had 1 hit point, we had 3. So it's a very simple system the way this one does work. You can just play this one automatically. In this case, we've got 6 versus 3, so we should actually do okay here. Yep, big numbers. That's going to wipe them out. So we've lost 1, 2 at this stage. And so each line just goes across and plays it out. We won that by 1. Now that's a skirmisher, which did sort of help its own survival. So that was a bit of a nothing. Even though we had 1 number there, we got an advantage of 2. And that should kill them off. Yep, they're gone. And then finally the last one here, and again we're just going up against skirmishers with actual axemen. Now because we've won so many, that should now push, they should now all run. Yep, so we're now in pursuit mode. And so what happens here is we then have a few free hits at them as they try to run off. And we managed to wipe out that one, and then that was the end of the battle. So that battle system is really, really quick. We did lose 1 unit, so we lost our Irish kerns, but everyone else, we did suffer some damage with our Irish foot, but they got very, very badly damaged. So we end up winning that particular battle, and so in this case, the rest of the turn then plays out, and we're then sort of back into the game. So I haven't covered much in terms of building up your the trade systems or anything like this, but this one has now allowed us to have our combined. Actually, I'm glad we did have a combined army in there. Now we did pick up we've got +2 in terms of the authority, but it's not enough to raise us out of that bottom section of the authority map. Let's go and click into here. And so we've now got a battle has been fought. Now if I just go back to the ownership, we now own this particular province, but it's not part of the actual other thing. It's now part of our kingdom. So we actually now control a 3rd one. And we would then sort of go forward and sort of try to pacify it, things like this. So it's quite involved the way that the game does work. but it's extremely good. Like, you know, the actual game itself, we're making a little bit more money now. Got good manpower generation. Metal production is good for raising armies. So all these different things just help with the actual game the game that does work. So Dom UK is saying if you don't own both games, does the game just autocomplete? You get to watch that battle system. So essentially you get to see why the numbers were what it is for an actual combat. So that last example is the way that it plays out in Kingdoms. If you don't actually have medieval, if you have medieval, you can export the battles out and fight them in a tabletop. Now, biggish battles might take anywhere between half an hour to an hour to play out one of those battles, a bit like Total War in that sort of sense. So they do end up being fairly big battles, but you can play that system even with really big armies immediately. So you don't have to play, if you don't like the combat system, you just play it in game. You just play it in Kingdoms. If you do like the tabletop, and I'm one of the people who do like the tabletop style of things, you then can just play it inside the, you can export it to medieval to play the tabletop, and then import the results, and it will then sort of give you that one through there. Is this a game that changes the flag like CK3? Changes the flag. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Sorry, Beaches. Maybe if you can just explain yourself. I'm not sure what you mean by the flags. I know that there's certain, like particularly around the World War II era, certain German flags get switched out at different times, depending on where it's got to be sold. But I don't know about this one here. Yeah, I'm not sure about about changing the flags. But anyway, that's that just gives you a bit of an overview as to what does happen. In that case, we managed to wipe out the whole lot, including the garrison of that little town, and so we got control. Typically, if you sort of see how there's no build-up around this particular town at all, like it's just essentially like in fact, if we go to that particular province, in fact, this is the province in through here, all this location has is, if I go and actually did that one, yeah, this one does give us the javelin men, the Irish foot. We do actually end up with round ships back through here and medium war galleys as well. So we do actually get a little bit more than what we had back over through this other side. Actually, we can get them there as well. Yeah, there we go. I was just trying to see what else they had. If we just go back into that location, I'll just go back to it again. So the only thing we actually have at this location is a poultry farm, which just gives a little bit of livestock, and also we have a spearmaker, which are heavy levy improvements. So if we go and click for more details, this one may be why heavy levy, can remove the hasty levy penalty borne from some heavy infantry. I think this is why they had that one group of spearmen that were protecting them. I'm not sure if it sort of shows that spearmakers will efficiently significantly improve your spearman levy units. So they managed to get the heavy spearmen, which is what we saw there in the fight. And I think that came about because of that building there. And some of these buildings are random. Like, so when you do play the game, they will actually be randomized each time you play it. Some of them are sort of set in stone. But that's a bit of an overview, like a very, very brief overview of how the game works, if that's at all helpful. But does it compete with Total War and Crusader Kings 3? Where does it fit? It's not neither one of them. It doesn't try to be either one of them. It certainly is. Yeah, well, it's different to both of them. It's much more in depth in terms of the actual, and we didn't even look at that one, but the actual empire management of this game is so much more in depth than either one of the other two games. So it's much more involved. I would suggest much more historically accurate as well in the way it sort of does work. The abstraction that you have through Crusader Kings, for example, with the way that armies are generated and how you sort of then develop them up and research them and build them up that way is this is done very, very purely, whereas that one is done with, like Crusader Kings does it much more abstracted. The choice that you actually have with your buildings as you build it. Actually, this is the other thing I should have shown. Like, I've got that one on auto. I can actually go and have this one to just go and auto build that as well. So we can ultimately with these with the provinces, you can actually just have them on auto build. It's just with the actual regions themselves, like the actual individual little counties. That if you don't control the province, then you do need to just micromanage this one. So you just go through, and again, these will just be random with what you can then go and grab. I won't go through how to actually then do to evaluate the trade system, but that's actually very, very important just in terms of trying to get your money, getting on top of your money situation. But it's going to be a great game actually. Like it's so much better than what Empires was. Just in terms of what they've done, just little changes with the mechanics, but it's very, very well done. Anyway, that's a bit of an overview of Kingdoms, which is, as I say, coming out in 2 days' time. I'll be just saying, as if you unite Ireland, will the flag become an island flag? I don't know, actually, because Ireland never really was unified in this time period, I don't think. I think it was always High Kings and petty kingdoms, I think. Was it ever? When was it unified? Because it was always one of the things it does tell you about with the actual faction itself. We've got realm traits and things. We've got Irish culture. It's minus Celtic feudal state. You get different bonuses, from the different types of things that you end up getting. This is the sum of all the abilities, but I don't know if it would then tell us what would happen. Overview. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. There's so many different little rules and things, but I'm not sure what happens if you do take over Ireland, for example, because it's sort of I don't think it actually happened historically. So I'm not sure when Ireland. Was it ever completely united other than being taken over by the English? I'm not sure. Just because the Crusader King's Street has a flag that has a harp. Oh, that's just Connacht is basically what we have in through there. That's just our county or our duchy or our petty. What are we? We're actually a Breffni. So that's the location. What are we? We're a Tuath. So we're a Tuath. Everyone else is just going to be a Tuath as well, which is essentially like a low kingdom, like so just a petty kingdom essentially. Eddie Ballgame saying looking forward to this releasing in 2 days as well as Songs of Silence. Actually, when is Songs of Silence? I'm under an NDA. I'm not allowed to show it yet, but I have it, and I'm not sure when it's coming. Let's move out of this one. So we'll exit the game. But if you are interested in Kingdoms and you've still got a couple of days before you can actually grab the game, grab the PDF, grab the rule book and have a read through. It's actually a good read, and it will give you a lot of good information. It's a very, very good. I don't know why that big gap's there. I've just noticed it. But it's a very, very good PDF, like as in a manual. Like this is actually one of the better manuals that I've seen. It's very, very much more in detail. By the way, inside the game is also a very, very good tooltip system, much better than Empires ever was. So you have different ways of actually getting information, very, very, very well within the game. But it's a complex game. So Noble Noob is saying, what game is this? This is Field of Glory Kingdoms, which comes out in 2 days' time. So it's one of my most anticipated games of the year, and it's stacking up. I'm loving playing it. It's very, very in-depth, though. So it's not a simple game to... you can't just... I mean, you can just pick it up and run with it, but you're better off like really sort of scratching it and sort of scratching and having a look under the hood and just really just getting into it. You're better off sipping it rather than gulping it is, I guess, the way that I've been trying to describe it. Anyway, that manual is freely available. You can just grab, there's a link in Steam for that one through there. Beach is saying I'm American, but was told the harp and green flag is Irish, national flag. Maybe Connacht actually took it over. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look and see. Ireland. Look up the good old Wikipedia. Ireland. There we go. An island in Europe. Just look at the see if or when it was. Where's the history? First AD. So from the island was Christianized in the 5th century onwards. During this period, Ireland was divided into many petty kingdoms under provincial kingship. So, and what this what this one represents, and it does say this when you start to play it, is that you were just one of the many kingdoms. So in the early 8th century to the early 11th century, which is sort of where we've just finished the Viking raids, settlement took place culminating the Battle of Clontarf in 1014. So that was like 50 years or 40 years before when we start, resulting in the ending of Viking power in Ireland. Following the 12th century Anglo-Norman invasion, England claimed sovereignty. So yeah, so the Irish never, like, it looks like they never really sort of did anything other than just have all these petty kingdoms. So I think that's sort of where we are. Just put that down there. Yeah, and then it's sort of, and then at that point, then the English sort of then take it over. At that point, so I'm not sure. Yeah, anyway, there's a bit of So like historically, but in the game, I don't know what happens if you do. I don't think anything changes. It's just if whoever you were ends up being the High King essentially of the Irish. So because again, each like every little section that you play, actually I'll go back into it and show you what I mean. If I go in and play, like, so we played as a Tuath, like a Celtic kingdom in that particular run through. If I go in and play as something different, I end up with a completely different system, and so it's sort of which is why the game is just so unbelievably big and good. By the way, this is actually a preview version. It's not the actual launch version. So Dom UK is saying after Black Death it wasn't united, but English rule diminished until it reconquered it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and it's also saying Ireland was split under Norman and English lords until the Black Death. Yeah, and that was 1600s, wasn't it? The Black Death. But I'll show you what I mean. Like that was just, we're just playing as an Irish Tuath, like a petty kingdom. If we play as a for example, like Poland, I'm interested in because it's right on the edge of all these sort of barbarian sort of territories, and so they can go off and try to conquer different areas. And so in this case, if we play as these guys, just what actually happens in through here. I think this one gives us other abilities to do different things. Actually, yeah, in 1241, Mongol forces invaded Central Europe. And so these become quite powerful in the early part of the game. So, but these are, and these will have a different sort of style of way things are sort of work. This is actually a fairly large area. It's the current kingdom founded. Actually, I don't know if it tells us much in through here. Realm traits. Yeah, it's just a Western feudal state. So this is sort of how we see how the government sort of then formed in the game. Like, I'll just go back out again. Main menu. I'll just start because the Holy Roman Empire is interesting because that does play differently again. But so many of them have got like different groups. Yes, this is saying it's a symbol very much connected with Ireland, but like Daz said, it's not united in the Middle Ages, so it had no national flag. Not that most nations had them back then. Yeah, yep. Oh, the stencil saying, by the way, greetings from Poland. Well, Poland's a very interesting faction to play in the game. Poland is interesting because you're on the edge of these different areas. Now, Prussia is not Prussia as we think of it. Prussia is a very, very backward group of like barbarians. Basically, this is a petty chiefdom. These are just chiefs. You don't play as chiefdoms in the game. So Prussia, even though it's an entity, is not. It's just there for domination by the European states. It's not a state at this part of history, so it's not playable because it's just. Like, when I asked the developer, why isn't Prussia playable? Because people will be wanting to play Prussia. He said it would be so boring playing as a chiefdom because you don't have the buildings to choose from. You don't like it. Apparently, it could be easily just switched over, so you could play it. But he said that it's such a boring way to play the game because you have very limited forces, you have very limited buildings, and so you don't really get to have a good feel of the actual game. And so a lot of the these little barbarian areas you can't actually go and play as. Like Lithuania is the same again. This is another petty chiefdom. Where you see chiefdom, it just means that you can't play it. Livonia is the same. Estonia is a petty chiefdom, so these can't be played. Osterland, though, is actually this one can be played. So this one actually you can play as Osterland. Novgorod you can play as well. So this is a what is it? A city state essentially. So there's a lot of city states running through here through the Russian territories. They play differently again. The Byzantine Empire, very very large. This one is also, this is a full-on fractious empire, so massively big, but in massive decline as well. And the game again does a great job of balancing all of these things out beautifully well. Kingdom of Hungary is a petty kingdom. Croatia. So all of these become then playable. Look at all the different groups through Italy. Italy is completely fractured at this point in time. Papal states you can't play as, but they're sort of right in the middle of everything. Then you've got all your different French territories, the different groups that then are beholden to France. You've got Normandy. So there's lots, and they all play differently. But if you go and play as one of the, like if you play as a Duchy of Saxony or Thuringia as one of these sorts of things, this is actually a group of we're a vassal of the Holy Roman Empire, which then means that we end up with a very unique way of playing, where we're all protected by the other Holy Roman Empire holdings, so they protect themselves, but they're all very fractious as well. They're sort of all over the place. So it's just the game just plays so differently depending on where you sort of start. Playing as sort of something like England, you're then going to have like Wessex, East Anglia, Mercia, and Northumbria are vassals of the actual English king. So again, you've got all these sort of like these duchies that you then got to, or little kingdoms. So these are all earldoms in this case. If we go into Mercia as an example, so Mercia we can play it as, but we then are just a vassal of England. So we're then expected to come and help England out if we play as them. So one of the great realms of Anglo-Saxon England. So Mercia. Now again, if we were playing these guys, you can sort of see the types of forces you're likely to get. These are much better armoured than we see in the sense of the Welsh or the Irish. You can see the Irish with their Irish kerns. So even just looking at the different sorts of characters, the Scots are much more for raiding at this point in time, whereas the English are much more heavily armoured, and so they're sort of slower, but they're more heavy. I've still got some Viking influence back in through this other side with the axes. Normans are sort of now starting to come into their own. Very very powerful army there for the Normans. Yeah, it's really cool. It's just such a it's been done so well. Anyway, that's I've rabbited on about this one for quite some time now. Wow, actually we're going to have to start to wind this up. There's still a lot to cover. There's still a lot of things I wanted to cover. Okay, I'm going to just ditch that one for now. I won't go through too many of the comments at this stage, guys. I'm going to, because there's another thing that's just come out. I just got to receive information. If we just go back into Steam, we'll just go back to the Steam homepage. I don't know if it's out yet, but there is actually a Iceberg Interactive is having a big sale at the moment. And so, yeah, if you have a look at this, there's a lot of good games. So, Iceberg Interactive. If I just go and grab one of these, and then we'll just go and try and just get them as. Let's go to Iceberg Interactive as the group, and see what they've got. So they're going to have like most of their games. They've turned 15 years old, and they've got some incredible games in their stable. It's sort of funny, they've had some really good ones, and then they sort of dropped some that were really good as well. So they've actually had some interesting stuff. But anyway, let's just see if we can get a list. But you can see that nearly everything that they've got is on special as part of their 15-year birthday celebration. They've got like a lot of. Just go into the different games. But there will be things in here worth having a good look at, I think. Actually, we've got specials, discounts. Let's go to discounts. I don't know if we can sort by discount. There's 99 different discounts. Just go to base games. Filter to strategy, 43. See, for even 43 strategy games. What else have we got? Star Dynasties, great little game, that one. Yeah, look, 66% off for that one. Definitely pick that one up. That's an awesome game. Railroad Corporation is a great little game. That's 75% off, so that's actually really cool. Land of the Vikings, I think I've played this one, but I can't remember what it's like. So, yeah, I can't remember. I can't recall. Was it mostly positive? Star Dynasties, I think mostly that surprises me. This is one of the most Dune-like games that I've played. I really, really like this one. This was a very, very cool game. Very, very cool. In fact, I didn't even know that it was actually Iceberg Interactive that actually did that one. I thought it was like, because they're essentially just the publisher for a lot of these games. So if this was saying the Holy Roman Empire was more a successor state of Charlemagne's empire, as much as one can call it a state, Charlemagne did want to see himself as the successor to the Romans. Yes, very true, very true. No idea what that one is. No idea what King of Retail is. That doesn't sound real good. Circle Empires is an interesting one. I've actually 80% off for that one there. This is actually this is like a beer and pretzels type game, and I did mean to cover this one because I quite enjoyed it. But all you're doing is just telling your forces where to attack. It's very, very simple. So you've got a few different ones in through there. Pax Nova, I don't know about that one. Oriental Empires. I was disappointed with this one when this one came out. It's 82% off. These are big specials, actually, guys. So these are all the 15-year birthday celebrations for Iceberg. Oriental Empires. It was a game that promised a hell of a lot. I would say, how does it rate? Mostly positive. Yeah. So it looked interesting. I mean, it's 2017 now, so it's a little bit old. Nuclear Dawn is old. Circle Empires Tactics. Actually, this was the one that I did enjoy. This one only came out a few years ago. I didn't mind this one at all. Very, very simple game. So it only got mixed reviews. What about the original? So very positive. There we go. So actually, maybe it is that one I'm thinking of. That was 2018. Then we've got the Rivals. Was also very positive, and then they brought out Tactics, which I thought was good. Only 31 reviews. Okay, that was a real flop. Stars in Shadow. You can get that one for 85% off. This is an old game now, 2017, but this is a good game. Yes, it's mostly positive. This is probably, when it came out, was probably the best thing, closest thing to Master of Orion 2 at the time. Very, very immersive, the way it does work. Tactical battles, tactical space battles. Very, very well done. Extremely well done, that particular one. So that's like for $5 Australian, that's going to be about $4 US. Yeah, I'd grab that one. That's a nice cheapie. Starship Corporation. This one came out. When was this one like? This one had only mixed reviews. I forget what this one's like. Armada. Didn't play that one. When was that one? That's 2013. Too old. Too old. We won't worry about that one. It's funny. It's not a lot of their big games aren't actually in this one. It's that's only I don't know how I can get the full list. If I filter by all, so I can sort of see some of the others that they've got. Because they had a lot more games than this. And I am not seeing it there. A lot of good strategy games as well. The Stars, you don't know about that one. Yeah, it's not showing it. Just trying to. I thought that they actually handled all of the. I may be wrong about this one, but I thought that they handled a lot of other types of games as well. So just go to lists. Yeah, these are all there. Yeah, no, I won't. Yeah, there should be other ones around. What else did they do? What else? The Iceberg list. Just go to browse. Let's go to all again. Yeah, not sure where the others actually are. I thought that I may be wrong about this one. If I just go back into the store page, I thought that the Endless games were published, like Endless Space. I thought that was an Iceberg game. No, it's Amplitude. I was getting these two wrong. Yeah, Amplitude is the other one. Yeah, Iceberg do a lot of it's still a lot of good games there anyway. So Dominic has saying click on a game. Okay, let's just do that again. So if we just go back to Iceberg and just go to the battle pack. And what we're suggesting, so and then click on the sale page. Not seeing it there. Ah, there at the top. There we go. Yeah, that's a better way to do it. Much better way. Just ditch this one here. There we go. Yeah, okay, this is much better. So yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of pretty. How did this one rate? Yeah, mostly positive. So not a hell of a lot going through that one. That one looked interesting actually when it was coming out. I never played it, but it did look interesting. But yeah, some good lists there. Some good lists. So, but definitely have a look through that one. I don't know how long that will be on special for, but it's only just started today, I think. So your puzzle games, your bundles. Yeah, very negative. What? Very negative. I have to look at this one. You don't often see very negative games. Why is this one so bad? This one came out in 2014, so 10 years ago. 19%. We're gonna have to read some of these, just for the giggles. Okay, so I don't know about this game. It looked interesting. Not recommended. Buy beware. I bought this game during early access. Participated in the forums and suggested. Okay, what is it? The reason I never buy again. Early access. Okay, it looks like it was abandoned. Play Solaris is unfinished, dead and abandoned. There we go. Just fully abandoned. As bad as anyone said it is. I actually pre-ordered it back when it had a different name, similar to Galactic Civilizations. I think it finally got around to playing it. Only 2 win conditions. The game crashed if you alter this. Yeah, okay. So it really wasn't good. Yeah, okay. No, that's this one actually recommended it. This abandoned game ended up being garbage. There we go. But he still gives it the big thumbs up. So, yeah, too many crashes. Wow. Okay, that was. You don't often see like a 20% game. Like you. What was the other one that just recently performed terribly? I'm trying to think of which one it was. It got completely review bombed just in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, she's dead, Jim. She's dead. Beam me up, Scotty, says KG Moose. Absolutely. So Beach is saying, are you excited for Bethesda Con very soon? I don't know much about that one, to be honest. So it's until the 8th of June, according to the game pages. Okay, so you do have a few pages there. Don't buy Lords of the Black Sun, though, guys. Don't buy that one. It's very negative. Is it still? It's 90% off. Well, maybe you do buy it. So you can give it a negative review as well. But no, that's it's sort of. I would have thought that with something that was really shitty, that you'd actually end up, sort of abandoning it. Now, actually closing it off. But anyway, they've put it on special, which is sort of funny. Anyway, we won't continue on with that one because we are running out of time. I do have to sort of start to wind up, and we do actually have the special. What I'll do is I'll just have a quick look. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I'll just go to Steam and have a look at the at my library. Yeah, there's a few that have come through. We didn't even talk about Age of Wonders. Wow, God, and I've run out of time. I've got to go to the beach. So the Age of... I will have to do this one. This one's important. So this is a very, very important... We'll do a much more in-depth one in the coming weeks because there is going to be a lot of stuff coming. Eldrich Realms. has been announced essentially, and it's a lot of new content coming for this one. Let's have a look at the actual. This one goes for only a short period of time. Let's go and play this one. I'll just go back to the start. You've got a different style of wizard to play now with the Eldrich Realms, which looks very, very interesting. Almost like an insane type. There's these big guys at the back. Yeah, that's sort of the new wizards. The Umbral Abyss opens. It looks very, very good. And unfortunately, I did put it into the name of the what we were going to be covering today. But I will be covering that more in depth. I don't have a copy of it yet, but it's coming on the 19th of June. So it's coming very, very soon. There was a 2-hour live stream that the devs did, and it looked great. Just the changes, they've got a couple of new forms that have come in. One is an insectoid form, and another one is sort of like almost like an elf form, but with the astral sort of style of things. Different ways of playing some of the other things you can set up in the game itself. I don't know if it'll actually show, because it's not just going to be the DLC, but there's also a massive update for the game. So this one here, first look at the stream, that was from a couple of days ago. So if you're interested, have a look at that one through there. And so this one is, June the 18th is when this one is coming. It'll say 19th for me because I'm in Australia, but that's essentially coming in a few weeks' time. So we certainly will be covering this one in much more depth in the coming times, but just be aware that one is on the way. New ruler types. These look really amazing, actually. 2 new story realms. 2 new forms, the siren form and the insectoid form. 2 new mounts, beetles and exotic death beetles back in through there as well. Cosmic Happenings event system. So brand new class of global events designed to bring exciting and unpredictable effects. God, they've done an incredible job of this game. Tome of the Tentacle. This is a new tome. This is a new level 1 tome. Specialised in using tentacles to immobilise and damage enemies. Tome of Cleansing Flame, of Corruption. 5 new pre-made rulers, which doesn't mean anything really. New realm templates, so new realm traits. New interface skin, okay, that's cool. New music tracks, yeah, pretty cool. There's a lot, but I think that the changes to the gameplay, again, this is going to really revolutionise the game yet again. God, they've done this is such a work of art, Age of Wonders 4. Tim was saying, yes, Age of Wonders 4, my only regret by in recent history. Really? You didn't like it? Wow. Cool to see the sirens back and good to see insects too. Yeah, I think it's, for me, I was always worried about the Eldritch. I didn't like them in Age of Wonders 2, and so I used to mod them out, mod them into something else, but I like the balance of what they've done with these. This looks very, very cool. It makes sense where they're coming from. These are sort of like wizards that have gone into, like, they've got lost in the void and have become corrupted by the void and become insane, and then they've actually brought these void creatures back with them. So it makes much more sense to me than the in Age of Wonders 2. They were more like they were from outer space. So it's pretty cool. So Cecil's saying, I do like their pre-made rules, not so much to play, but as opponents. So they have backstory. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And Silvergirl saying, I have to say that for Age of Wonders 4, I'm really just waiting for a decent deal on the expansion pass. Yeah. And Richard Phillips is saying, very negative is rare from that previous. It is rare. There was something what happened recently? There was something where they got completely review bombed. I can't think of what the game was. I think we covered it a few weeks ago. There was something happened where... with a game. Yeah, I can't think of what game it actually was. Anyway, did I miss all the giveaways? Got a late notification, says original intent. No, we haven't done that one yet. We're just about to. In fact, I'm going to have to rush into that one now, guys. So anyway, Eldrich Realms is coming. Looks pretty damn amazing based on the developer playthrough. What else is there to cover? I don't think there's much else for us to cover here. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go across into Nightbot, and... I'll just log in, and we've got giveaways. Keyword. The keyword is just going to be win. So if you can just type in the word win into the into the chat. Now I'm going to only have limited time, guys, so get in early because I'm not going to be going back and adding people today because I've run right out of time. In fact, we're only going to do 3 instead of 4 actual races. So while you guys type that one in, I will get the marble run set up and get the sublime text. That was pretty cool, actually, the Skulls event last time with all of the different things that we actually had to give away. That was really, really cool. But I really appreciate, like Athena Crisis, the devs from Athena Crisis, giving us some keys. So I'll spread them out over the coming weeks. I think that I really like Athena Crisis. I love the attention. I will actually get back to them, though, about the battle log. I think that's a really, really good suggestion. That would be extremely helpful. And also a battle predictor, I think, as well. I'll give them both those feedbacks because that's what's so cool about doing these sort of live streams, even though we're sort of covering a lot of ground with them. And I guess I cover a lot of ground, but very, very slowly. Tend to be the sort of comments that I get on YouTube is like, why are you taking so long to explain things? But we do get through a lot of stuff, and I do really appreciate the critical aspect that you guys actually do bring to what we're looking at. So and it allows me to get back to developers and let them know what our community is wanting, which is fantastic. So anyway, thank you on behalf of me and the other developers, because it does help with the games. I know that there's been a lot of things with different games that you guys have suggested that I've been able to hand back to developers and they've actually implemented. So it's a really cool system. Right, okay, guys, I'm going to pretty much close it off there. So Michael's saying, don't even know what the prize is, but I'm here for the marble run. Well, I'm just going to put everyone in. Everyone's going to be into this one. So we're just now going to... I can't believe I missed the stream. I have to watch the video after the races. All right, so I'm closing it off now. 26 eligible players. Tenru isn't listed there, but I'm going to still keep you in there, Tenru. So I'm just going to go Control C. So you're in there. We'll just go across into here. So we're not coming back. If you haven't put the win in there yet, too bad, too late, unfortunately. Just go replace all. Clean that one up. 27 players. Yeah, that's right. Okay, looks good. All right, so we'll just go and save that and back into Marble Run. Sorry, I've actually completely run out of time today. So add names, clear, open. 27, finish. Yes, this is Athena Crisis, which we covered at the start of the session. Looks very like I've been having fun with it. I haven't got really into any of the other maps yet, but they do look very, very good. Just as an Advanced Wars / Battle Isle type game. Just go back out. Grand Prix. So we're going to go and do 3 maps today. So we're not going to do quite as many, and we're going to do 27. Bots. Okay, good luck, autofill. Okay, so we've got a few minutes there actually. Yeah, that'll do. All right, it's going to be, I'm going to be a bit late. That's all right. That's okay, it's Marble Run. It's got to be prioritised, even though... So Richard Phillips says I might get back into Age of Wonders 4 because of that DLC. Yeah, it looks good. Dominic Kane saying only briefly covered Spark. Daz will cover more later, I think. Spark, I'm not sure what that is. Like next week? Yeah, sorry, what Spark asked for. Mr. Stream wanted to see the Age of Wonders Eldrich. I'll do much more, like when I actually get the game, I'm going to be able to open up and have a really, really close look at it. So I thought I had nothing to talk about today, but in the end there was a lot. Good luck, everyone. Here we go. The Marble Run is going. They're going to come out of that middle bit? No, they're going to come out of the bottom bit. So who's winning? God, it's all over the place. I'll just move off to the side so I can see what's going on. Looks like it's Sorbicol out in front, Bibicus coming in second, Bilko coming in third. Sorbicol is now coming back down. Just trying to figure out what's going on through here. Has anyone died yet? I don't think anyone's died yet. So through you go, through you go. So you're going to come out of these churning areas. Here comes Sorbicol, he's the first one through. Bubicus, Jinga, Original Intent and Tenru. And on the other side we've got Elephant Man, Gyrox, Brian. Now Elephant Man is the current, and I don't think Elephant Man will ever be challenged in terms of the best win ever in this game. So in fact he's taken the lead already now from Sorbicol. This is a sort of, there goes Began or ZXM. See you later, Began. Oh, you actually survived. Bilko survived too. I can't believe it. Barbara is gone. Barbara didn't survive. Okay, in through we go. Who's going to win this one? Could it be another Elephant Man run? This would be pretty amazing if it was. You've got to also just get exactly the right location. There's going to be a lot of people dropping off here. So a few people sort of not quite making it. Introbert looks to be the one out in front at the moment. Wait for the others to come. Nope, Introbert's gone. I think that others might have missed actually. I think that they were sort of down the bottom here. Didn't quite sort of make it. Bubicus. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Bubicus failed. Brian. Sorbicol. Oh, okay, Sorbicol was the winner. Well done. Paul came in next. Dom UK. Jinga. Elephant Man coming in fifth. Still waiting a few of the others. Here we go. Tenru, Cherenk, Richard Phillips, and Gyrox. Gyrox got the extra 10 points, coming in 10th. So a lot of people not making it. Still got a few at the back there. Here comes Beaches and missed. And Michael did make it. There we go. Congratulations, Sorbicol, with the big win there. So that's the first of the wins. We'll just able to check the Grand Prix results. That all looks good. Okay. So if you don't finish, you don't get any points, but that's okay. Sorbicol on 20 points. And we've got a few others coming through there. Gyrox just lucky to get the extra 10 points, but coming in 10th. Next map. Next map. So we're now going to the last lovely track. See what we get. Okay, so we've got, we'll start this one. And away we go. I think we'll just follow in with the group. Yeah, they're sort of in through this other side. Big group of them coming through that middle bit there. Elephant Man back out in front again. He's very good at being out in front. Oh, no, he's gone. He's actually dropped off along with Donald. There's people all over the place now. Got Gyrox off this other side. Who's going to be the first one down? Oh, it's Michael and Gyrox, with Richard Phillips coming in third. So Michael out in front. Gyrox coming in second. And Richard coming the other way. Gary Oak's gone the other direction. But will that play a role? Oh, there they are. It looks like it's Hugh David's actually the first one through, with Gyrox now still in second place. Coming back through the rest of the loop. I'll just keep on following. Now, how are we going? Have we got CB is sort of, Hugh David's still out in front. Gyrox is still second, with CB coming in third. Michael coming in fourth. So Hugh David looks to be a fair way out in front from the others. And it's going through a completely different loop. There we go. Oh, it's pretty even actually. Just when we line them up, Hugh's on the other loop on the other side, and you can sort of see as things go. If you just look at Hugh's name there, I think he's slightly out in front of the others. I'll just keep on with Gyrox. I can't. If I press number 1, we end up with different locations. Actually, Cherenk looks to have Jinga and Dom UK have just fallen off. Cherenk may be out in the lead now. Gyrox is saying that Gyrox is in the lead, but I don't think he is. We'll just follow it through. Yeah, I think he's dropped way back now. Got CB and Cherenk technically in the lead, with Hugh David coming in third. Coming off in different angles now. I'll just zoom out so we can sort of see where we are in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, so there's a group of 3 up the top there. This is the final stage. We'll see that when it comes through this big love heart. So he's going to hit this area first. Who will it be? The actual leaderboard on the right hand side doesn't have any real bearing on this one. It's whoever's going to come up these. Oh, here we go. William Thomas looks to be out in front with Gyrox still coming in second. Wow, what a impressive second run race all the way through. Here comes Paul on the other side. Here comes William Thomas. Is dropping, and William is the first one down, and Gyrox is number 2. There we go. Number 2 all the way through. Bubicus, Sithel coming in, Paul 5th in through there, Michael 6th, and a heap of them. And who's going to get 10th is Tenru, getting the 10 points. So ZXM is saying Daz needs to design some special tracks just for his runs. It's a confusing map, isn't it? But anyway, we got results in the end. Brian and the others, these are just 1-pointers now coming in. This is your extra points. So there we go, final results. One more race, guys, to get the winner in this case. So we'll just go to the Grand Prix. Actually, it says, this is the total runnings. So Gyrox has actually got 35 points. And then we've got, 33 points coming in through there with Paul. So, and then 21 back in through there. So last race, Gyrox is out in the lead. Paul is coming in second at this point in time. Last map. Amazing Adventurous Fall. This one sounds dangerous. I think this will be a dangerous one. So Michael's saying, wow, I didn't fall off this time. All right, around we go. Doesn't look very dangerous, does it? Looks very simple. Looks like Gary's out in front. Have a look at the bottom here. Trying to figure out what's going on. They're going to hit this loop. And who's the first one through? Who is the first one? I think Gary is still the furthest one down the loop. There's a few of them that just got there. There goes Gary. There's a lot of them there. Gary's still Elephant Man back out in front yet again. Wow! And now they hit this block. They have to break their way through here. There's a massive group of them. That's everyone. So Gary's back out in front again. Donald Wood coming in. This is down the stairs. Donald has made it straight through. And then straight. Oh, and Donald's gone. Here comes Bubicus. Gyrox coming in second. Gyrox just needs to finish in the top, probably top, anywhere in the top 5. Probably gives Gyrox the win. Barbara coming in third. There goes Dom UK, falling yet again, second time. So not going to win this particular prize today. Well and truly gone. So Bubicus followed by Gyrox. Well, if Gyrox gets through this, that is pretty much secured the big prize, the Athena Crisis game key. We'll have some more of these in the coming weeks as well. Whoa, there goes Barbara. See you later, Barbara. Yep, you're gone. Bubicus miles out in front. Here comes Charank now, Introvert. Gyrox coming in fourth. That's be enough to win. Where's Paul? Is Paul still in the running? Yeah, Paul's way at the back. Here comes Bubicus. Here comes Charank. So coming back through. Hugh David. Jinga. Introvert. Actually, it looks like... there's Gyrox back at the back there, but losing ground. Losing a lot of ground. So we've got Bubicus miles out in front now. Now hit this sort of little area and getting through pretty easily, actually. No, he's not. Charank has probably hit the lead now, I think. Yeah, Charank's straight through. Charank is straight through, and Bubicus is right on his tail. So Charank and Bubicus, who's going to be the first one to fall out into the and win? We'll just watch. It's nearly Charank. Here comes Introvert as well. And Bubicus right there. Bubicus is almost through. There's Elephant Man. Someone just got pushed around the other side. Here comes Sorbacol, Introvert. They're the first two in. And Introvert has won, I think. I think you actually skipped past, but managed to save yourself. Yeah, Introvert won it. And he actually fell past it. Charank actually in the end falls outside the finish line. But Introvert actually fell almost straight into the finish line. So yeah, Gary Oakes now finished as well. Hugh David is finished. As we're not seeing Gyrox. Maybe this could be anyone's race, actually. I didn't see Gyrox fall off. Oh, there's Gyrox. Wow, he's right down the end. There goes Beaches. Richard Phillips, Paul's gone, so Paul's no longer going to be in the running, really, I don't think. And Gyrox does finish, so he only gets one more point. So 36 points is going to be the what you require for this one here. Right, here we go. So final results. So that's the final results of this particular win. So Introvert Bibicus for Elephant Man. Let's finish the Grand Prix and see who gets to win. So we'll just go straight to the winners, because I've got no idea now who's going to win this one. So coming in third place is Gyrox, who was the leader. So we know it's going to be a random, an unknown, because Paul fell off. So Gyrox is third. Second is Bubicus coming back in. So the number one is Sorbacol. Congratulations, Sorbacol. If you can email me, please, at daz@daztactic. I'll just go and bring that one through. So there's the actual listings in through that side with your different numbers. Actually, I must have tallied it up wrong. I thought Gyrox was miles out in front. That's my when I do maths inside my head. So just daz@daztactic.com. I probably won't be able to get it done immediately, but if you can just shoot me through an email, I'll see if I'll get ready to go to the beach. If the email's in there, I'll shoot it off like in 5 or 10 minutes. If you can just shoot me through a quick email, or you can, if you if you wanted to, you can sort of just hit me up on Discord as well. So congratulations, Silvercoal. This is a pretty cool game, I've got to say. As I say, I have been enjoying playing this one. This has been, like, often I get games to sort of test, and I'll play them once, have a bit of a feel of whether I like the game or not, and then just basically report back on it on these sorts of sessions. But that's the Athena one is Athena Crisis, a game I have actually enjoyed, and I will keep on playing because it's fairly basic to play, which is pretty cool. Yeah, buy a lottery ticket today, Sorbicoll says Dom UK. Here we go. Anyway, it's had fun at the beach. It's actually, I'm wearing this is my first day wearing an actual like a jumper, it's really, really cold, so it's not going to be pleasant. But it's going to be bracing. It's going to be a bracing day at the beach, but not a pleasant day at the beach. It's going to be freezing cold. So I'm going to be wearing UGG boots to the beach, along with tracksuit pants and this jacket as well. So it's going to just be really, really cold getting in and out of the water. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and we will do a much more in-depth as we get closer to the Age of Wonders 4. But the important one was that you do have Kingdoms coming, and there is a special. I'm pretty sure there'll be specials on in 2 days' time with the release of Kingdoms. So if you are interested in that game, hopefully I've shown enough so you can figure out whether it's a sort of game that you would like or not. It's not an easy game to play. We'll put it out there. It's involved, but it's not onerous. And as I say, have a read of the manual if you're in two minds as well, and just sort of see if the manual helps sort of cement your mind whichever way it goes. The manual is very, very well written, I've got to say as well. So Dom's saying cold. It's going to be like 20 degrees Celsius something, and warmer than the UK in summer. It actually the water is about 20 degrees at the moment, so the water is not too bad. But the air temperature today, I think, will be under 10. So it's going to be probably around about 10 degrees. I think it does get colder as our winter progresses. It gets down to like 3 or 4 degrees is about the coldest it gets, because I go at dawn, and so it's sort of it's the coldest time of the day just before the sun gets up, and so so the air temperature gets very, very cold. And if there's any sort of, like, we live on the east coast, and if the wind blows from the west, from the inland, you end up with freezing winds, and I'm not sure what the wind's doing. If it blows in off the ocean, at least you've got that 20 degrees warming everything up a little bit from the ocean, but yeah, it's weird. So we can saying I live on the North Sea. The sea temperature is rarely more than 9 degrees. Yeah, wow. That would be once it gets down to about 18 or 17 in the water, I really struggle getting into it, to be honest. I don't know how people can actually go into water that's colder than that one. So we're saying you're just pampered, yes. No, it's good. It's a good way to start the day anyway. Anyway, guys, going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next week. I will have other videos coming out, but I'm really time poor at the moment. Got an awful lot on in my real life stuff, and so I just haven't been able to get back and do too many videos at this point in time. But that will change in the coming weeks. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching, and